Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast. Welcome to this week's episode of the Grappling Rewind Podcast. I'm Josh, joined as always by Maine.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing after choking people unconscious the other day?
Doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Today we are breaking down the Onnit Invitational, sort of, and Fight to Win Pro 56 from Sacktown, Sacramento, California, as well as
Submission Underground 6 and the EBI 14, the Absolutes. But first, we're going to kick the show off with some news.
in the tiniest bit of news that we have, as we were talking about last week with the sumo scandal, Haramafuji has retired. Tear emoji.
Or been forced to retire by the Sumo Association. What do you think, Josh?
He retired. He says he retired, but the Sumo Association was probably like, hey, time to go. We can't have this. And he hit the bricks. So it is what it is. He was my favorite sumo wrestler. He was the first one I saw elevated to Yokozuna. I enjoyed his sumo style. He was one of the lighter Rikishi, and his, as Kenta Miyama calls it, Henka not Henka, where he would hit and turn immediately. Work of art. Beautiful. Very sad. Bummed that we have 3 Yokozuna, one that actually counts, and the other 2 are meh. So
We'll be back to covering sumo here in about, what are we at?
January.
January. When the next Basho occurs.
Correct.
So kicking us off, we're going to start with Fight to Win Pro 56, the Musclepharm event. Josh, you want to start from the lower card or from the top to the bottom? What do you want to do?
Just run through it really quick, huh?
So Eddie Cummings out of Henzo Gracie's versus Jacob Sandoval out of Cobrina BJJ. This was a good match. I enjoyed this. I have a quick question, Josh. So they announced Cummings as the 145-pound champion, but this match was at 155 in lightweight. So I'm not sure if there's a transcription error or they announced it wrong.
No, it's true. Remember, we had this discussion where we were saying he fought at 135 at EBI. He competed at 145 at Fight to Win and won the title for it.
And this is at 55.
Doing this at 55.
Okay, so it's not for the title. It was just a match at 55.
Match. Like,
okay.
Hey, we're getting a big name, and this is what we're going to do it at. And more than likely, he looked a little heavier. He looked a little beefier.
Yeah, he didn't look quite as lean. He's looked really lean in the past, so looked a little bigger. I'm not sure if he'll cut back down to 145. I wouldn't be surprised about it.
Maybe, maybe nope.
But onto the match. It was a fun match. I liked it.
Yeah, it was good. Sandoval came in aggressive, like I expected him to. He decided he would give no fucks about Eddie Cummings' guard, and Eddie Cummings just rocked that butterfly guard. Came in, tried to lift, went for the legs, which was expected. And then eventually he hit an arm drag, which Nicky Ryan also hit, to the back and choked him. It was good. It wasn't a very long match. It was quick. They were both aggressive. It was a great match. Before we get any deeper into this Fight to Win event had the highest submission rate of all Fight to Win events. It had 68% submissions. 21 of the 31 matches were submissions. Awesome.
If you're going to rewatch the event, if you're thinking about it, watch the whole thing.
Watch the whole thing.
People getting subbed left and right. I want to talk a little bit about the ending sequence. I thought it was really, really interesting exactly how Cummings was able to take the back and get the choke in.
Pretty much exactly the way that I was telling you to sweep somebody earlier today. Yeah. Pull the arm across and then lift and turn.
Yeah, he traps the outside elbow with his hand, pulls it in, gets it across the body, and then with his outside elevator hook lifts him up. But then he changes the grip over to the lat grip and pulls him onto him. And then you see Sandoval try to outstep him and get his far leg outside of the post leg, but Cummings actually pulls his knee underneath it, gets the back, and basically fires the choke as he's in this leg transition as well. So you see him fighting the legs while he's fighting the arms and gets it. It was just a beautiful sequence. I watched the sequence a number of times just to say I'm a butterfly player, just to see it and see exactly what he's doing at that high level. It was beautiful.
Exactly. And this is what exactly I was telling you to do earlier, and you just refused to do it. But you should watch that sequence over and over and over again, and then try to repeat that.
On to the co-main event with a female flyweight no-gi bout.
Yay, ladies.
Yep, for the title as well. So we had Talita Alencar out of Cobrina BJJ versus Patty Fontes from Checkmat. I think Patty Fontes, they announced her as the 2016 Nogi World Champion.
Yeah, and they've had matches before, and Toledo won the last one. So this was, quote unquote, according to Flow Grappling, revenge match. It's not a big thing. Women compete against each other. You're going to run into the same people eventually when you're at that high level.
Yeah, there's not a ton of...
It's not hype. They don't hate each other. It's not like they're spitting at each other before the matches, so on and so forth. They're competing. They're friendly with each other. They're ready to go.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I enjoyed the match. You saw pretty much a lot of what Talita Alencar does. She very methodical, moves, gets to the mount, goes to the S mount, goes on the top, gets the arm isolated, turns the hips over, and gets the armbar.
You left so much out, though. Just as she was passing through, she came in super aggressive the entire time. And as she's coming up, she got double unders and started hiking Patty's elbows up. So her elbows started coming to the top of her head, which was awesome. And that allowed her to go to mount. She hung out, knew that she wasn't going to get anything from the mount, transitioned to the S mount, turned the corner, hooked the arm. The armbar was a given. It was just, when am I going to do this? And then nailed it. It was every point getting to that armbar was textbook awesome pressure jiu-jitsu. It was just like, here we go. Step 1, step 2, step 3, armbar.
And it was interesting. You watch her settle at every single one of those points and just establish position. Basically, like when everyone yells, get the points. Moving on to Nikki Ryan versus, give me his name, Josh.
Luli. Apparently it's Luli.
Ricky Luli. So they announced
Luli.
him on the broadcast.
As Luli. Fuck that. Your name is Lule. It's Lol. Or Lol. I'm going to call you Ricky Lol.
Ricky
LOL.
Lol. So, Josh, what do you think about this match?
Nicky Ryan continues his domination of 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
He was going for that arm drag the entire time. We looked at Cummings, basically.
He sat, and then he was like, maybe I'll do the leg thing, and maybe not. Fuck it, I'm going to try to choke this motherfucker. I don't know. The 10th Planet guys, it's like footlocks didn't exist until EBI started. And then they're like, holy shit, all this stuff is going on. We need to learn it. But they're really, really slow about learning everything when it comes to that. The only guy that I've seen that's been super legit with the legs, or guys, not guy, but Marvin Castell, who we'll be talking about shortly, Gio Martinez, and...
Who trained under him, I think.
Yeah, who Ricky Luli trains under Gio, and Richie Martinez. You don't really see a lot of the other guys. There are some EBI dudes that can't recall his name, but he tapped out Tex Johnson, who's on the EBR card tonight with a heel hook. But they're not as good. It's confusing. I don't know what it is. They look like me at blue belt doing heel hooks. Not very good.
Different. The transitions are different. It's
Yeah.
just in this match you saw the same thing. You saw Nikki kind of play his game, and then it looked like Luli almost turned the wrong way trying to escape the drag. And
Well,
then
he almost had his back taken the first time in the first minute, and then he got out and kept coming forward poorly, low, and letting his arm get pulled across. If you're supposedly a good wrestler, you should not be letting that happen. And he was just letting that arm get pulled across, and then he made a dumb mistake and got his arm pulled.
So then you see Nikki, he drags, he gets Luli
And
in the back.
he gets Rico Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Luli tries to jump like it's going to make him let go. Dummy.
Because the mat for Fight to Win, Josh, you've competed for Fight to Win a couple times now.
It's soft. I would, if somebody threw me professional wrestling style, I would land perfectly fine and it would be great.
Yeah, so slams are legal, and I like honestly seeing slams are legal because it makes you respect a couple more things. You can't just posture up in the guard. You can't just be a koala on someone. Like
It makes
you have
you
to respect
be
that.
less lazy.
Yeah.
Instead of not
You gotta hook the
hooking
leg.
for the triangle
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Because
You
dudes
have to
can
do
slam
it.
you. So he
Happened
gets
to
slammed,
me.
and he eats the slam good, but as soon as he gets slammed, he bounces
Grabs the
off, and
choke.
he's already on the neck, and he just finishes the rear naked choke.
Yep.
Again, it was a fun match to watch,
Quick.
that
These-
finishing
these-
sequence.
Quick. Boom, boom, boom,
But
boom.
it seemed like you saw Nicky Ryan coming in with a very defined game, and the 10th Planet guy just kind of
nothing.
He was playing a reactionary game and just never really got his game. He couldn't get his game going, and then got his back taken and got choked.
Yeah. That's the gist of it.
Next match we're going to touch on is Marvin Castell versus Brandon. Give me his last name, Josh.
Walensky. Apparently, you don't speak Polish.
Not particularly well.
Yeah. Marvin Castell did what Marvin Castell does, which is immediately go for the legs and keep going for the legs until he gets the legs.
Yeah, he wasn't as committed on the Imanari roll as in this match. He didn't
There
seem
was
like
no real Imanari roll. He just sort of wonkied it and then came over and got the legs, and for the most part, Brandon did what he was supposed to do, defending the legs, and he was defending it well. But Marvin is giant.
He's super
he's
long.
tall and long. It's weird.
He's not. It doesn't look like he's particularly tall. I mean, he's taller,
he
but
might
he
be
is
5'11",
lanky.
but
he
his
is
arms
super
are just-
lanky.
yeah.
He's got super long legs and long arms. Like looking at him when he was standing, when he walked out, I went, man, how long is he? And so you just saw him get the heel hook. It looked like from 50-50 to me, but I'm not quite sure. And he just extends him out and stretches him out. He has that extra length with his arms and legs to get him really deep and just finishes the heel hook. Again,
He just was in a leg entanglement position. I wouldn't say it 100%. It was 50-50, but he was tangling up his legs, came through and grabbed it and extended as he went through and called it a day. Next match coming up was the 203. Again, a weird number to go by, but whatever.
I see more and more of those.
Whatever. I'm not going to complain. There was grappling and there was submission, so I'm not upset. Spoiler. Omar Saba, BTT, versus Greg Hamilton from Jean-Jacques Machado's. This was a fast match, and Omar said, hey, guess what? I'm going to pull guard on this giant of a man. This is another person that was all arms and legs, but this was in the gi.
He didn't pull guard. He jumped guard.
Well, yeah, he did. I just say pull guard for everything, even if you jump on a guy and go flying. I'm just going to say pull guard. But yeah, he jumped guard, and he was aggressive. Greg came down to the mat, and Omar swept him with such ease. It was amazing. I was like, wow, that's what it looks like when you sweep a white belt that has no idea what's going on.
It was smooth.
Swept him, passed really easy. Really, really, really easy. I mean, again, white belt kind of stuff. Not downplaying Greg, but just passed very smoothly. Stepped over like he was going to go for that straight arm lock from side control. And then magic happens. Pure unicorn style magic. A head scissor. He head scissors him, and he taps him with a head scissor. He was messing with the arms, trying to get it going, but he head scissored him.
He had that Kimura grip, and so he couldn't turn out of it. But you see him lock it up, and you go, and even the commentary's team calls it out, like, I think he's going for a head scissor. And you look at it, and the camera's positioned directly in the perfect angle. It's pointed down at his head. You can see both legs crossed over. You can see his angling his knees in to get the thigh crunch right on the neck, and he taps him with a head scissor.
That was straight up Minoru Suzuki versus Vernon the Tiger White in Pancrase back in the early 90s. He head scissored him. My pro wrestling boner was so hard for that. It was amazing. He head scissored him. Bravo to you, Omar. I would love to shake your hand when and if I meet you for that head scissor.
Beautiful match. Again, really short match. If you get a chance to watch it.
21 matches, submissions, 21 of the 31, 68%. You can't go wrong with that. Watch it. And I know there were issues with the stream. Everybody talked about it. Reddit talked about it. You know, your mom's friend Susie talked about it. Everybody talked about it. It happens. You're in a giant warehouse. I'm pretty sure the internet connectivity is great inside, but Flow doesn't do the actual filming or anything, which we've discussed before. That's all fight to win. So somewhere in the exchange of information, all that data going through, it was choppy. It sucked.
It was bad. I
Flow
couldn't
needs to
watch
work
it.
on their stuff. Again, we are super hypercritical of their terrible website and their terrible editing skills. I'll be super hypercritical of the guy that pretty much runs it, Highwell Teague, who stole a bunch of money from grapplers and then doesn't talk about it.
About 17
Red Belt
grand.
documentary. There's issues. There's always issues with Flow Grappling. People are mad because of the price and for the shady stuff that they do.
Moving on from Fight to Win Pro, we're going to talk about the Onnit Invitational 6.
Sort of.
A little bit.
Yeah. We were made to believe that the women's side was going to be an awesome thing. Or maybe we just thought it was going to be an awesome thing.
Well,
and
they
we
put
saw some
they put the event out on Facebook, and they tagged all the women competitors in it. But those names, a lot of them didn't actually get tagged until like the day before the event, so we couldn't do a whole lot of research on those women. After we did a lot of research on the women, we found that most of the competitors in this events were blue belts, a couple purples, I think one brown I saw, maybe one or two brown belts.
Yeah.
It was
some of the names that were on that list were not there. It was weird. There was at one point a 13-year-old girl.
green belt versus a 40-year-old purple belt.
Was she 40?
40. That's what the tail of the tape said. But then again, their tail of the tape had a lot of missing information here and there.
Not applicables.
Well, they also had like missing ranks and missing ages, like things that are very, very easy to like, hey, ask you a couple competitors, hey, how old are you? What's your rank? Not like what's your affiliation, what's your professor's name, like age and rank. Like that should be on your application to be on the event, especially if it was a little weird. So we're not really going to touch on that event. There's some super fights.
I'm a lady, and you don't need to know my age, okay? That is personal information. You don't ask a woman her age.
But the weights are fine.
Yeah, that was the other thing that was weird. It's like, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 233 pounds.
Yeah,
That was the weight of one of the competitors. Not being disparaging or anything, but it was weird. I don't want to tell you what rank I am, where I'm from, what my age is, but I will tell you how much I weigh. Or maybe they made them step on the scale. I don't know.
I'm not sure. They had a couple matches that were brown belt versus blue belt.
Yeah, that happened. A blue belt won one of the divisions. And,
Blue belt won a couple of divisions because most of the divisions were mostly blue belts.
And then the the final was a brown belt versus a blue belt. And I don't want to speak poorly about people's skills, so I'm not going to comment on it.
The event was a little more.
The women's side, it was a little different than what we had expected. That was kind of disappointing. Again, all for women's jiu-jitsu, but
happy to see it being showcased.
I would have had no problem with throwing any of the female competitors at the gym that we're from into that tournament, and they would have done fine. And we're talking our blue belt competitive women. It wasn't super high level. We saw Natalie DeJesus' name on there originally. She wasn't there. That was disappointing to me. I like seeing her compete. And she's popping up everywhere. So I don't know. It was a little bit of a letdown. Maybe this is just the start to get more names.
That's what I can hope for. I mean, I want to see high-level women compete, and this just kind of wasn't that.
Yeah, and it's no knock on non-high-level female competitors. I mean, if you're at a tournament, you watch all the jiu-jitsu if you like jiu-jitsu. I watch the women's matches, I watch Sky matches. Some of the matches, I'm like, well, this is snoozer. I'm going to look over at a different one. It all really depends, but it was a letdown. And even the super fights were kind of a letdown. There was some good action, but it was kind of a letdown. Marvin Castell competed again. What did he do? He heel hooked this guy.
Back-to-back days.
Pretty much the same exact way. He went through, came in, grabbed up the legs, and stretched out and heel hooked him. Kyle Kingsbury did not look very good.
which was a little weird to me. I watched him come out, and I thought he would be
do better.
I just thought I'd see a little more from him. He was competed against Miller.
Yeah, Miller came out and was like, "Hey, guess what? Boom, takedown. Boom, takedown." He hit
double leg, big double.
Big double leg, but he hit a 6 sit out and came around, and Kingsbury just didn't look like he had anything for him. I didn't look into his gi training, but it said he was a black belt, and I'm assuming that is under the 10th planet system, and I know it's a whole different
criteria
of things.
And they have legit black belts.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They have legit black belts. We just watched one compete on SUG. But I wanted to cover it. I wanted it to be awesome. Jiu-jitsu. My eyes hurt from watching jiu-jitsu. I'm watching jiu-jitsu as we speak. It's on in front of us. There are two different things going on at the same exact time, and we're watching it, and we're talking about it. We've consumed so much jiu-jitsu since Friday. This is not including our training, main competing this weekend, lots of jiu-jitsu. And there was kind of a letdown.
Yeah. So typically for this show, we try to cover good brown belt matches.
I'll cover
black
really
belt
good
matches.
blue and purple. That's fine. But it wasn't, I guess, high standards, you know. I am a high class lady that likes fancy things, and that was not a fancy thing. The worst. We're coming in. We both hated
not
it.
to shit on the event. Additionally,
there's going to be some shitting, and it's all going to be on the goddamn commentary. What the fuck? That's all I can say. Is seriously, what the fuck? I got yelled at for yelling into the microphone. I'm going to be yelling a lot. What the actual fuck? When you have good commentary, it's like angels singing to you, if you believe in that kind of thing. When you have Sean Williams breaking down technique on the Worlds or at 80cc or whatever he's commentating on, it's fucking music to my ears. When you have Jay Regalbudo, shout out, commentating on Fight to Win or other local things like the Show the Art Invitational, things like that, it's fucking beautiful.
They speak well. They're articulate. They talk about the positions.
They
talk about the
know
transitions.
fucking jiu-jitsu.
And they know how to talk about jiu-jitsu.
What the fuck we listen to when we hear some of this bullshit? Like, this is no knock against Dan Camarillo, who was the Fight to Win commentator this past Friday. But holy shit, did he not know how to talk about jiu-jitsu when it didn't come to instruction?
So the SUG commentary really bothered me. The issue with their commentary is they talk about really, really broad things. Like they don't talk about position or what they're doing, what they're going for. They mention like, he might be going for a guillotine. But they don't talk about any of the passing or the hand position or the hand fighting or where they're going or some of the technique. They just kind of talk about, he's really got to push them to the cage. And then they'll go on some information about cage wrestling for MMA that's not applicable to what we're looking at. Then after that, they'll talk about, they moved position. He's really transitioning well. They say words, but don't communicate any information when they're talking.
Words. That's essentially what it is. It's just, it's like Steve Carell's character in Anchorman. I love Lamp. They just see what's going on, and they say shit. It's, again, infuriating. You have guys that are good at what they do when it comes to talking about jiu-jitsu. I'm a goddamn idiot when it comes to talking about these things. I'm pretty sure it comes across when you listen to this podcast.
I edit pretty good though.
Yeah, Maine does do some pretty good editing. I sound like a goddamn idiot. I say a lot. I do a lot of other things. I lean too far into the mic, this, that, and the other thing. But 99% of the time, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And that's the same thing with EBI. The commentary's off right now, but I can tell you that if it was on, I'd be foaming at the mouth and spitting everywhere because they're just talking about random dumb shit. And that who's the guy that does EBI commentary that's not TJ DeSantis?
Is it Ross?
Scott Ross. Commentary is dick. Get better. Up your commentary game.
Yeah, that's a thing. We watch a lot of these events and we want to hear, we watch the events. We are fans of the sport. We want to hear someone talk about what's happening, what the person's doing. Why are they doing that? How are they pushing the knee down to get past the Z guard? Why are they doing that? What are they looking for when they do that? Are they underhooking or overhooking the leg to do that? And it's not going to grow the sport, and no one's going to want to watch jiu-jitsu anyway if you don't practice jiu-jitsu, but it's even harder when you have poor commentary that just talks about, oh, he's transitioning. What does that mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean shit, and it's infuriating, and it's not me being whiny, and it's not Maine being whiny. It gets brought up all the time. People are online, because that's how most people communicate when it comes to grappling, unless you're in the gym. People are online saying the commentary fucking blows. Like, what are they doing? Are they feeding them acid beforehand? And they're like, hey, pretty colors. And you're like, what? Why? I just want to know what Rustam Chiziev is doing right now to this other guy. Did he just do a cartwheel into a guillotine? Yeah. Talk about that. Don't talk about random dumb shit that doesn't matter, or say, oh, this guy's, his he's in trouble and the arm circulation is going to get cut off because of where his arm was caught. That was the last EBI that Gary Tonin was in, where they said some dumbass shit. So again, up your commentary game. When you have good commentary, it's fucking great. When you have bad commentary, holy shit. I would rather let my legs fall asleep while I'm sitting on the toilet going to the bathroom. So we'll go into the super fights that happened. Danny Castillo and Jamie Varner, that went into overtime. It was mostly contested on the feet. Varner,
wrestling match.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, by two wrestlers that were negating each other. Varner actually hit a nice blast double. He got actually a few takedowns, was on top trying to lock up a Darce, everything like that, but it went to overtime.
Darce, Japanese necktie. He worked for a while on that, and he really, you saw him ratcheting his hand up right onto the back. Yeah, it went to overtime after that.
It was still a good fight. It was better than I expected it to be. Danny Castillo actually won in overtime by submission, so that was really neat. That was cool seeing Varner out there. Good seeing him going out. It was a nice wrestling match, not a boring one. Again, Marvin Castell competing all over the place. From day to day.
Friday on Fight to Win, Saturday on the Onnit Invitational. And those are in different states, in different parts of the country.
California to Texas, so, he had to fly pretty quickly and go around. Versus Dennis Dombro, and Marvin did his thing, took care of Dombro fairly quickly, heel hooked him. It was good. And the way they had the matches listed made it seem like Kyle Kingsbury would be the main event. It was not. It happened actually before the Castillo fight and the Castell fight. Kyle Kingsbury versus Patrick Miller. Miller won in overtime. He tapped him in overtime. That was that. Kingsbury, again, we talked about it. Maybe he was off, maybe he's sick. I don't know. He just looked kind of meh. And that's not being, that's not trying to be mean. He just looked meh.
Some days you look meh.
Yeah, some days you are meh. Sometimes you get a little slump, whatever.
The final match was Michael Chiesa versus, give me the name, Josh.
Carlos Diego Ferreira.
Ferreira.
There we go. Look at that little fanciness. I'm surprised you can say Chiesa, that you didn't say Chisia or something like that.
I know. Watch MMA, Josh. I know it's Chiesa.
Hey.
Even though it's spelled kind of funny. So again, a tail of tape here. They don't have Chiesa's rank listed.
That was one of the things that we griped about the ladies. It was kind of weird. And if you don't know who CDF is, Carlos Diego Ferreira, black belt from Atos, former UFC fighter, pretty good at jiu-jitsu. He was beating up Chiesa. Chiesa didn't really have anything for him. He took him down. Chiesa is hard to take down in MMA. He was not very hard to take down in an open mat. He took him down.
Which surprised me a little bit. Most time you see Chiesa get taken down in MMA, he's hard, but you see, again, off the cage. That's really the only place you see Chiesa get taken down. So to see it happen in open space was like, damn,
it happened.
Ferreira's pretty good.
CDF is because it's just a mouthful to say his entire name every single time, or call him Carlos, or I'm going to call him CDF. He, all over his back, in the mount, so on and so forth. He finished him with an armbar. Straight up, regular transition for mount. He got rolled over and just turned the corner and armbarred him. I mean, he should have won. Chiasa's rank is not applicable, so there you go. Not applicable rank, you get armbarred.
Yeah, I just wish they would give him, say he's advanced or because it's obviously Chiasa's a black belt. I mean, he might have the rank, may not compete in the gi, but he would compete in the advanced divisions in any tournament he would go into. He's a professional. He's a good grappler. Assign him some rank, or if you're going to show the tail of the tape card on fighters and you don't have that information, leave it blank. If you don't have their age, don't put that thing there and say NA.
I'm going to call him a brown belt, maybe a purple. That's purple brown. Close enough, something like that. He's probably right around there, right before black. I don't know. If you want to be a real stickler for it, he's probably not trained in the gi, so then he's a white belt. Whatever. He's an advanced grappler. If you throw him in a Naga, how many years of experience? This many? Okay, well, you're in advanced division. Oh, you wrestled for this long? All right, advanced division. That's what you're doing. So again, going back to it, you could put advanced, or you just make some crap up.
Another piece to add on the Onnit commentary. Josh, I'll give it back to you here.
This Gina, she's a UFC fighter. She was just on the UFC China card. Can't remember her name. It's really, it doesn't matter. What the fuck were they thinking?
If you can't speak, so she had
ready for her commentary. She was going, and if you have a sore throat, take some Tussin. She drank a beer literally during the last call because they have a bar on it apparently. During last call, she drank a beer, and guess what? Hey, liquid. It coated her throat. Maybe have some tea with honey. I work in a ramen shop. The guys that own it are Chinese. They always tell me, get some hot water, some ginger, some lemon, and some honey, and you'll be set. They also have some other weird concoctions for when you're sick, and it involves onion and thyme. It's disgusting, but it does help.
But the entire time she was doing commentary, she sounded like she had screamed her voice out, or blown her voice out the day before, or 2 days before, because she was almost inaudible at many places, and her voice would crack and come on the mic, and you couldn't understand what she was saying. And this was your commentary staff. This is your commentary team on a streamed professional event, and we can't understand your commentary.
The guy with her was a fucking moron. That's all I have to say about that guy. He was a fucking idiot.
And so I had to turn the commentary off because you couldn't understand it, first of all, and the pieces that you could understand, you couldn't hear properly because her voice would crackle and wasn't audible. So have good commentary.
Yeah.
Jesus. So in this show, we typically don't cover any MMA because there are enough MMA shows that do a fantastic job of that. But when there is a really cool submission like this weekend, we'll touch on it. Joe Soto got calf slicered by Brett Johns in about 30 seconds. Soto goes for a single leg, goes to run the pipe, drag him down, and Brett Johns basically puts his leg behind Soto's calf, falls through, rolls to the truck position, and then just finishes a calf slicer. It was just a beautiful transition and series and fast.
Joe Soto did not want to tap to that, but he tapped, and it was awesome. I couldn't believe it happened. The last time I saw something like that, not including the other calf slicer, who
was Charles Oliveira.
Yeah, he did the different way, but
he did the standard way where you roll the guy over and you get his back.
I wouldn't call that the standard way. There's no standard calf slicer.
Oh, that's where I hit the calf slicer when I hit it.
Oh, okay. The last time I saw somebody in jiu-jitsu do that was Antonio Braganetto in Worlds, where he did it to two people in a row, where he went from Z-guard, half guard, and would pop his head out and just reach for that foot and crank it. And he hit that twice in a row. So it was really cool seeing somebody snatch something like that up just randomly.
Especially against a guy like Joe Soto. Joe Soto is not a bad grappler, and he competes in grappling super fights and competes in grappling.
EBI.
Yeah. EBI. I think Metamoris too.
Yeah, he's done. He's been around.
Yeah, he's a good grappler. Tachi, I can't say the name, Fight Palace champion.
Tachi.
That's the
That's
word.
all it is. It's literally like TACHI. Tachi.
So that was exciting this week because, you see typically a lot of arm. That card was full of arm bars.
Yeah, it was.
It was a fun card, but we typically don't touch on MMA. But when there are big highlight reel submissions like that, we're gonna touch on them because Josh and I watch all of this stuff.
A lot of grappling and a lot of MMA, except for I'm old and fall asleep because shit comes on too late.
So we're gonna talk about Sug 6.
Man, we were watching a lot of stuff last night.
It has been a busy weekend to say the least.
Yeah, we were bouncing back and forth between EBI and Sug and yelling at each other. And I showed up as the Wagner Hosha Jesse Taylor match started. It was what we expected. Wagner Hosha being, the continuous competitor. The guy doesn't stop competing.
Literally every single week on this podcast, we cover him for a different organization, under a different rule set, fighting a different dude. Literally every single weekend.
Yeah. Take a nap, bro. I mean, it's cool seeing you compete, but man, take a nap.
Wagner Hosha.
Yeah. The guy just competes, and he is a master of those EVI style rules. Like he went to his body triangle, which he always does, goes for it, and then boom.
Yeah, he's the guy I want to start studying for the body triangle because he seems to have a body triangle like few other guys have.
I just don't think he gives a shit whether the guy turns and goes over the foot or anything like that. It was, always impressive. Always impressive. It was a good match to watch. It was very exciting. Jesse Taylor was much bigger.
They're saying about 40 pounds bigger.
Yeah,
which
when
is,
they weighed in,
damn.
Hosha was 176, if I'm not mistaken, and Jesse Taylor was 203, 209, something around that.
That's a couple of weight classes.
He was big. Jesse Taylor has been known to cut a good amount of weight, and he fights at middleweight now, so that's not a huge cut for that, but still.
Big dude.
Big difference.
So, yeah, congrats to Wagner. It was a cool match.
It was a good one. It was a good one. So then the following match, which was kind of weird to me that they had Wagner on before them, but it was the Anthony Smith versus David Mitchell.
And so in hindsight, the last couple of weeks, we've broken down this, we've talked about this match, and we've like, hey, who's Anthony Smith? Who are these guys? And as soon as they walked out, Josh and I went, oh, we know these guys.
Yeah, we were both like, oh, hey, that's the guy that knocked out Hector Lombard. So, yeah, after we were like, we have no idea who these guys are. And then it's like, oh, yeah, it's these guys.
We know exactly who these guys are.
Yeah. It was going back where Anthony was strong in the front game, but Mitchell turned it around and snagged a reverse triangle in, the last 2 minutes?
Something right at the end there. I think
Right at the end,
snagged it out.
nabbed it and said, hey, suck it. Take this reverse triangle. This has also been a weekend of not so common submissions.
We had that calf slice in the UFC. We got this reverse triangle here. We had the scissor choke and fight to win. Like every organization to this weekend was like, you know what, we're going to turn it up to 11 and really just throw out those subs you see a couple times a year.
Oh yeah. It was great. That weird knee bar and fight to win.
Oh yeah.
Where they folded the guy in half.
Yeah.
And
So actually, he was talking about that. They were talking about. They announced that on the commentary as I think Seth Daniels yelled it, the dopest fucking knee bar he'd ever seen. And the guy at the end was motioning. He's like, cool, like is a knee bar, but he motioned like it was actually a shoulder lock. And if you watch the video again, it looks like it actually is the shoulder lock that taps him.
Whatever. He had him bent in 17 different directions. And
It's like the pretzel lock. It was crazy to watch.
Awesome.
Him literally put his leg behind his own head, and then like that's not what tapped him. It was a shoulder lock at the end.
It was good stuff. Coming up to the real fun part that it was previewed before where I said I would do it, and I damn well did because I ain't no damn liar. Nathan Orchard beat AJ Agazarm in overtime, and I pissed my pants a little bit. Not gonna lie, straight up spritzed in there. It was hilarious.
It was we watched it live, and
we were watching it.
And the match went. It was Josh. Do you think you want to comment on during the match?
It was just back and forth. Orchard played a lot of guard, like he did what he normally does, but AJ
just was active the whole time. They were both active,
just going.
Made
But
it to the overtime.
Yeah.
And Nathan started on his back, or I think that was the second.
AJ started in the back first, and then it switched because Orchard escaped, and Orchard got in there and fucking choked him. And it eventually, when we release a best outtakes, it will be on there. Me screaming.
Yeah, in the initial recording, I think we're talking about Onnit or Fight to Win.
We were talking about a bunch of stuff.
And we're watching it live, and all of a sudden
interrupted.
Josh starts screaming on the recording. I'm like, well, I got to cut all of this. And as we watch Nathan Orchard just lock up the rear naked choke, and we look, and we're looking like it's under the chin, like it's in, and AJ looks like he's going out, and we're like, he's gonna go out.
I thought he was gonna go to sleep, and he tapped.
He taps it like probably real close to going out because he did not want to tap to that. And you could see it in his face that he did not want to tap to that, which probably is a big reason why he was so salty at the end of the night, which we'll get to
in just a minute. But he probably listened to the podcast and was like, fuck that guy. He's being an asshole. I'm not going to lose to Nathan Orchard. And he lost. Oh, he suck at AJ.
Another one we were to look at. I actually was really kind of excited about this match just because, being that everyone calls me Maine, Tim Sylvia is
the maniac.
A guy kind of close to my heart.
God.
2-time UFC champion Tim Sylvia. I haven't seen him in like literally since the day of the first DC and Bones fight. Like that was the last time he retired that night when he missed weight in Russia. Haven't heard about him since, and he weighs in, I think we weighed in what,
363, 368, something like that.
What did Fabio, what did he weigh in at?
He didn't weigh in. Because he supposedly lost his wallet and couldn't catch his flight. And the rumor was he thought so little of this match that he didn't even feel like showing up to weigh in. And that's how the match went. Because Tim Sylvia is big, and not like athletic big like a linebacker or anything like that. Okay, great. He's a really tall, fat guy.
Give me that.
He's not in any kind of like shape to where you'd be like, oh wow, okay, he's explosive or something like that. But it was a joke, and this is the best part. The best part was that he pushed in from side control, and Fabiano Turner just was like, it'd be awesome if I wrist locked you from right here. And he just grabbed the back of his arm and wrist locked him, and Tim tapped out in 2 seconds.
He cranked it too, and he snapped it on really fast.
A joke.
It was one of those real fast wrist locks from side control.
It was a joke.
The guy stands up after he's like holding his own hand, and so that's how that played out. And I was happy to see it because I always like seeing retired guys come. I don't know. I have a thing for watching retired guys come back into other sports and like continue competing. Same way I was used to watch every Sakuraba match. Like he comes back and fights and grapples Gracie. Not Gracie. Again, Shamrock again. I'll watch it. It wasn't good, but I'll watch it.
God.
I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Stuff like that. Finally, that brings us to the main event of the evening: Dorino versus Jake Shields, and it was a great match. They went back and forth, a lot of, attacking.
Good cage wrestling too. You see, really, Dorino was pushing him into the cage hard.
Shields had answers for everything, hitting arm drags. It was a good final match. Like it wasn't a letdown. It wasn't such build up, and then it was a good match.
What does Dorino compete at in the UFC? Do you know?
85, 70.
Rachel has come in to let me open a jar.
You're so strong. Ooh, pop.
I continue.
Yeah.
You think 85? So he's a full weight class above Shields.
70?
70? I should remember this, but I just forgot. But he
Shields,
came in,
Shields weighed in heavier than... Shields was in the 200s and Dorino was in the 190s.
Shields is the guy that typically cuts a pretty decent amount of weight.
But he fights at 85 now.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yep, I forgot. He's in PFL now.
Whatever that is.
Whatever World Series of Fighting turned into. I think it's Professional Fight League is what it turned into now.
It went to overtime, and Jake Shields just knew how to escape. He just gone out so quick, and he won by fastest escape. But the cherry on top of this delicious sundae was good old Choky McPhail. AJ Agazarm comes in and just starts talking shit for no reason, pushing Jake Shields. They had that previous match in England, and I'm blanking right now on the.
Wasn't Polaris, was it?
Yes, it was.
It was
Thank
Polaris?
you. And they had a match in Polaris, and it got heated, and Jake Shields smacked him in the face, which was hilarious. And then we got back to a pushing and shoving match, and Chael tried to break it up and got smacked in the back of the head by Jake Shields.
It was pretty great. You see
funny.
Chael like trying to hold back a smile because he's going, "Oh, this is going to get so many views."
Oh, I mean, that match is going to get so much attention, and I hope Jake Shields was like, "I'm going to break your arm," and honestly, I hope he like paralyzes him, not permanently, but for maybe like 2 weeks.
Like that blowfish thing.
No, that stuff kills you.
Fugu?
Yeah, that kills you.
All right, not that then.
Not the Simpsons thing where you start to go numb because you thought you ate the wrong thing and it was just all in your mind. Like straight up, I hope he is paralyzed for like 2 weeks, and he reflects and realizes how much of a dingle he is. Then he's like, maybe I should be less of that. And he comes back as a better person.
And a phenomenal grappler.
Yeah.
Grappler.
Yeah.
So overall, a really good event. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
You're gonna rewatch a match, Josh. What do you think you should rewatch on this card?
Definitely the Shields Torino match.
I would rewatch the overtime. I'm gonna rewatch the overtime for Wagner just because I'm kind of recently been really fascinated with how he uses that body triangle, because it seems like no one can get out of it. Or it's really, really hard to get out of it.
Yeah, and if you want to be tickled pink, watch the Nathan Orchard AJ Agazarm fight, just because it'll make you giggle.
Yeah, good match still on. Good card. Really pleased with it. Started off early. There's a lot of undercard matches
Tons.
as well. So there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu. I was really happy with a lot of the matchups. They had a kid from Bellator in there at the undercard at blue
He's
belt.
only a blue belt too, but
Yep.
he was on the move.
Moving. It was it was a good card overall. Really pleased with it. So moving on to EBI 14. It was good. I really enjoyed this entire card. There was a lot of good matchups. I think this is one of the better EBIs I've seen. This is one of the more enjoyable EBIs that I've watched in a long time. A lot of good guys, a lot of exciting matchups, a lot of subs.
A lot of yelling, saying, "We hate that person. We're glad he lost."
Yeah. So Josh, how do you want to start off?
First match: Gordon Ryan versus Dan Borovic. Which it's not Borovic, it's Borovic, according to the commentary team. Which we'll get out of the way now. Still not good. We want good commentary. It enhances the jiu-jitsu experience. If you have subpar commentary, it takes away from it, and it's subject to be made fun of. Get different guys. That's all I can say. Get somebody that has a high standard for themselves and for the sport, and the commentary and will come through.
Yeah, DeSantis has grown on me, honestly. Over the years, I've watched him commentate in Victor. I've watched him get much, much better as a commentator. He seems to do play-by-play a lot better now, but the other guys, the really jiu-jitsu-y guys that should know in and out the positions,
Still hang
guys'
on
game
stuff.
plans, they're just not communicating. They may have the knowledge, they just don't communicate it well, and they'll go off on tangents that are unrelated to the match, and I want to hear about the match and hear from a
Not
knowledgeable
necessary.
guy exactly what's happening. So enough about our kind of gripes with commentary, Josh, unless you have anything else to add.
So no, I'm that's it really.
So on to Gordon Ryan versus Dan. Give me the last name.
Borovic.
Borovic.
Dan hung in there with all the leg lock attempts that happened. Dan said or nah to a lot of those leg lock attacks.
And some of them were deep, too.
Some of them were really deep.
You saw him really fighting the hands well. Like, he always would have his top hand on Gordon's arm and, like, forearm, just trying to block the hand from coming back for the heel hook.
Yeah, and he hung in there for about 8 minutes, and then Gordon got this awesome-looking heel hook where he was just off angle and turning, and it was awesome.
That was the one he finished hand over hand, right?
Yeah, he did that sort of baby cradle kind of heel hook.
That a lot of the Danaher guys will do.
Yeah, it was a good match. That was about 8 minutes, but not terribly long in the scheme of things, because you have a whole lot more people to go through. You have 7 more matches that you get to rest. I'll go into Gordon's comments about the tournament after we finish talking about it. Moving to the next match, Daniel O'Brien, Mr. I'll walk into you because I don't care about competing.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him. I've watched him at ADCC trials, and I've watched him at a bunch of tournaments. This is the guy that came in blindfolded to that tournament a while back, and then he does the thing where he walks in and he like he acts like he's like badass and like walks into you and then disengages, and he'll like roll around like standing up, like he'll just like rotate on you. I hate watching it. It makes me upset. I don't like to watch his matches. It makes me upset because it's just like a slap in the face to good competition and good jiu-jitsu. I get it's a game plan. I understand it's a strategy. I just hate to watch it because I just think it is kind of just a slap in the face to jiu-jitsu.
Well, it backfired on him. The 10th Planet qualifier, Patrick Donabedian, got underneath of him and heel hooked the shit out of him. And that's the end of your, competition for the night. You got murked fairly quickly after doing that goofy thing that Maine doesn't like watching.
Yeah. So Patrick Donabedian, what do you know about him? I know you watched the qualifier that 10 Planet put out. Do you know a whole lot about him, Josh? I've not seen him in the past a ton.
No. Listening to him talk made my head hurt, to be brutally honest. Like, what he was talking about on both the qualifier and the build up to it, the inside, the EBI, talking to all the brackets people. What he was talking about was just, it was circular. It was annoying, is what it was. And I said it earlier in the previous recording. We're combining 2 days where they don't. Most of the 10th Planet guys, not all of them, most of them, don't have a full grasp of the leg game. They see something and they copy it, but they don't understand it 100%, I feel. And it shows in competition. So it showed in the qualifier videos and it showed a little bit later. I'm not surprised that he won. A lot of these matches are toss-ups. Some of them you can go, this person's going to win, definitely. 9 times out of 10, you can go, okay, Gordon Ryan's in this. And he wins. So other guys are like, I have no idea. So he beat Mr. Walk Into You, robot style, by heel hook.
On to the next match. Karen, give me the last name, Josh.
Darabedian
versus Casey Hellenberg. Wasn't Casey the giant dude when he weighed in? When the blue rash guard from Texas?
No. That's Andrew Kimmler.
Oh, of course. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Casey Hellenberg on the lead-up video was talking about being in war, and it was kind of weird. Kind of scared me. So that started. It was, again, attention was pulled from both ways, from between Sugg and EBI, and I looked away for a second, and then I looked over, and Casey had a triangle armbar. I didn't think Kieran Darabedian was going to go anywhere. He was one of the smaller competitors that hasn't been out in the scene a lot. He talked a big game like, I can hang with all these guys, but it was...
Nowadays, it's hard and absolute. You get guys like it's not the same game it was 10 years ago. Like, it's rare you see the smaller guys be really successful in the absolute. It's really usually dominated by, what do you think, Josh? 88 and above, or when do you see guys at 70 something, 77?
It depends on the tournament. It normally is the heavier guys, and that's why Leandro Lowe decided to get beefier. But you can still have tiny guys winning the absolutes. You can't count anybody out. But this is one of those matches where you look, and even if you really don't know too much about either competitor, you can make a safe assumption that one is going to win over the other.
So on to the next match, Adam
Sagnoff
versus Cesare Childre.
Yeah, this was one of those ones where they're throwing Sagnoff in a lot because they're like, he is a giant 10th Planet guy. He's believed Denny Probocosa's first black belt. It didn't work out too well for him. Cesare. I'm going to call him Jesse. Yeah. So Jesse, he just kept it on. At one point is up on Neon Belly and just putting the work on him. And he transitions over and boom, Kimura. Or as my coach likes to say, and it's been found on YouTube for years, Kimura.
Yeah, why does he do that?
I don't know. He's a weird guy. So if you've ever seen the video of the white belt choking another white belt with his belt, that's my coach yelling in it. So if you've ever made fun of how he said Kimura or omoplata, yeah, that's my coach. And we make fun of him for it all the time.
The video's about 10 years old now at this point almost.
12.
It's an old
Something
video.
like that. It's an old video.
On to the next match, unless you had anything else to add, Josh.
No, but this is the dark horse match where everybody thought Rustam was going to end up either in the semis or the finals.
That's what I thought.
And Kimmler said, no, I don't want that to happen. And Kimmler, the research that I did, he was a blue belt world champion. He could be a purple belt. I believe he's a purple belt now.
What year blue belt champion, do you remember? Recent?
Couple years ago.
Okay.
Couple years ago. Not anything where it really mattered. But Kimmler beat him in overtime. And I think that was kind of shocking because normally Rustam is super aggressive and all over the place. And maybe it was the height difference. I don't know. But
Kimmler was a big dude.
Yeah, he was the largest competitor in the entire field. So, first shock of the night, first one where you were like, ooh, changes are coming.
Which I always like. I always think it's really exciting when you're like, oh, this guy's going to win. And then you watch the match, you're like, well, he did not win. And so that's what I thought. I thought Rustam going in was just going to blow through his first match or two matches. And didn't. He got stopped in the first round 1.
Yeah, we both texting each other. We were both like, so Rustam in the finals, maybe Craig Jones. So it was a toss up on that side.
I thought it was going to be either Craig Jones. Gordon Ryan, I think was a given his pedigree. I thought it was going to be either Craig Jones or it was going to be Rustam, and then
Rustam vanished.
Yeah, and then Rustam was out the
one.
first round, so it was kind of a toss up. On to the next match,
which is Aaron Tex Johnson, who is way bigger than the last time I saw him. I mean, he's competing at ultra heavy at the Nogi Worlds. He looks way beefier. He defeated Matt Kirchwem. That sounds right. I'm going to use the my Jew is going to come out. And I'm going to call him Kirchwem. It's probably Kirkwem. That's fine. It was a very back and forth. It ended in overtime. Aaron finished it. It wasn't super eventful. It was nice. There was a lot of scrambles, but not anything to write home about first round. Not anything that really stood out. Anything else, Maine, that you have to add to that?
No, really, it was kind of the same match. It happened. It wasn't a bad match. It was just
the match.
Relatively uneventful.
Yeah. Going on to the smallest competitor on the field.
Marcel Gonçalves.
Gonçalves? Yeah, Gonçalves. I waited to hear it on the video so I would know how to say it. Yay me.
I might have the commentary muted for a second at this point. I missed, again, nothing new on this podcast. I'm pretty bad at names.
Yeah. He murked Travis Moore with a one-handed rear naked choke.
I always like when they include that. We're looking at some results here just to refresh us. I always love when they include very, very odd caveats in the submission, like one-handed heel hook. You're like, that's not really...
It's just a heel hook.
It's just a heel hook.
Grabbed it with one hand and didn't finish it.
But they actually specifically listed as a one-handed rear naked choke here, and it always makes me laugh when the results are super specific like that, or violin arm lock, or they get really, really specific with the exact submission.
7.5 finger guillotine.
Yeah.
Weird stuff like that.
Like a modified grip rear naked choke. You're like, oh, that's just a rear naked choke. We can kind of get specific about it. But so he finished him with a one-handed rear naked choke.
It was good. Good. Going on to Mr. Lightning, Mr. Flash, Mr. whatever you want to call him. The guy was like, I don't want to work very hard to make this money. Talking about Craig Jones smashing Andy Burke in all of 13 seconds. You can't talk about that match because nothing happened other than Craig Jones sat down, entangled the legs, and heel hooked him. That's the whole match.
Really, that's the whole match. That was it. In the time it took us to explain the match is how long the match. We watched how sweet Craig Jones. He's up finally, and then
Craig Jones and it's over.
Jumps down, and then he grabs his leg, and then he heel hooks him, and we're like, all right, Craig Jones
that just happened.
Going
Holy
on to the
shit.
next round.
Yeah, Andy Burke made a point of being like, I've been around the leg lock game. Dean Lister taught Danaher all these leg lock things, so I'm savvy with this, and he got heel hooked fast as shit.
Yeah, I think Craig Jones is like really coming to this. He competed last week in an event, MA1, and he heel hooked a bunch of dudes. Same thing, like super fast, came out aggressive, and just heel hooked everyone.
He just doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be out there too long. He just wants to win and go home.
Good for him. He won. I think it was won like $6,000 at that event last weekend. And so again, these guys are competing a ton, which I love to see. I love to see the best dudes that are winning the big tournaments go and make their money in these pay-per-view events and in these like super fight events. I love to see it.
Yeah, it was quick and it was amusing. And then, of course, what's going on right now? Commercials. Man, the commercials that they put on this are so weird.
I wouldn't say even they're weird. I mean, they're weird, but I think they're bad at this point. Like, I think at this point, it wasn't Hertz branding.
No, they're so bad it's good. Well,
some of them are bad.
Almost.
Like, there's a commercial where like they were talking about Eddie and Rogan smoking weed for the first. It's like, I don't know.
That's the one they always show when Eddie's talking about how weed is a good thing, and then the first drug czar made it a bad thing, and it's just some random tangent.
But it's so weird. It's like, and that's the Dr. Czar ad.
Yeah.
You're like, wait, what?
So was the terrorist electrocuting some guy's balls.
I know, it's just so weird. It's like, it makes me uncomfortable how weird. It's like Adult Swim late at night.
It's like the movie The Room. It's not supposed to make sense, but it is. You know what I mean?
It's just weird. It makes me uncomfortable, Josh. I don't like it. Give me jiu-jitsu. Don't give me like weird psychedelic cartoons about terrorist balls. So,
terrorist balls.
On that note, on to the quarterfinals.
Gordon Ryan says, "Hey, 10th Planet qualifier, Patrick Donabedian, I'm gonna armbar you." So he did. That was supposed to happen. If I start talking about Gordon Ryan, the follow-up sentence should be submitted somebody. If he doesn't submit somebody, you go,
that's weird.
That's interesting.
They're very good.
Yeah.
Like, cause he that's what he does. Like, he's big, strong. I think he is 22. I think I had his age wrong. I think he is 22. I thought he was 23.
Suck it. I was right.
Yeah, 22. Like, just you're that young. You're that athletic. You train full time since you were like a kid under some of the best guys in the world with a system, and you have a coach and trainer that train with you and follow you and coach you at major events. Like, dude's made for success, and I am gonna watch it till the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
So this was one of those matches that was supposed to happen. Josh, do you have anything else to add about the match?
Nope.
Gordon Ryan gets done via armbar in regulation.
Yep. Moving on to Casey Hellenberg versus Jessere Chodre. Casey, big beefy dude, took care of business, worked over Jessere and said, "Hey, armbar." A lot of armbars. It was cool. It wasn't like heel hook. Yeah,
I think you're starting. It's not that the fad's changing, but you're starting to get to see guys that are like moving back towards the full game again.
Yes and no. Everybody's just so aware of that you have to do something else. So, armbars aplenty. Anything else?
Not really. No.
So Tex Johnson, going on to that match, said, "You know what? Biggest guy in the competition? Armbar." There's a theme. There's lots of armbars. He ended it fairly quickly. Armbarred him. It was good stuff. This EBI was top notch.
Yeah, I think this is like we said at the beginning, I think this is one of the best EBIs we've seen in a long time. It is one I'm actually going to go rewatch because there was a lot of good matches. There wasn't a lot of overtime, and even when you saw the overtime, for some reason, these overtimes, it felt like guys were like moving around and working as opposed to where guys sat in a position and kind of like barely hand fought. Like, it seemed to have stakes for some reason, and it felt good.
People wanted that money.
Yeah.
And they all wanted to fight Gordon Ryan and take that title away.
Which is cool. I think this is one of the most stacked ones they've had, too. Like, everyone on here, aside from everyone that Craig Jones fought, seemed like, it all seemed competitive and like anyone could take it after, especially after Rustem got beat.
Everybody was competitive unless they competed against Craig Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
On to that match.
Craig Jones versus Marcel Gonçalves. Heel hook.
Fast.
I
think this was one of the longer ones.
No. This was, again, another shorter one.
Like
this one was
23
like
seconds?
30 seconds. So he had about 40-ish seconds in at this point. Moving into the semis, he had 40-ish seconds.
Which is crazy. Like, you finished two good dudes in 40 seconds
40
combined.
seconds.
Again, it was the same thing. He goes down, he kind of scoots, grabs his legs and tangles the legs, and then just
Heel hooked him.
heel hooks him. You know, if you want to watch it,
Yeah,
look at it. Take a look at it.
You can't add more to it. He was literally like, here I am, heel hook, bye.
Yeah. It's really cool to see him use his length. He seems like a lankier, taller guy, and that seems he's really using that well, and like because he gets to your legs first, and he gets your heels, and he kind of extends you out.
Throws it over and just says, "See ya."
Yeah, he beats the knee line first.
Yeah,
is really what it looks like, and that's why I think he's so successful here. Is he's longer, he beats the knee line first, and he gets to your heel first, and he just has the finishing mechanics down and nails it.
Semifinals. This was Gordon's second longest match, should I say. Gordon defeated Casey Hellenberger. I mean, I'm making him weird. Casey Hellenberg in overtime. It only went one round. It wasn't fast escape. But it was Gordon being dominant pretty much the entire time from wherever he was.
Just couldn't finish him, though.
Just couldn't finish.
They went to the turtle a lot, and you saw Ryan
took the back
putting
a lot,
his knees in, but he just couldn't. He
couldn't get it.
Seemed to be able to like really progress the position. Like he was dominant the entire time, and no one has any doubt that he took that match. But at no point did you see Gordon really get like super close to anything.
Yeah, but he finally sunk it in overtime. He escaped and then took the back, sunk in a rear naked choke.
You could tell he wanted it too.
Casey stood up, and he was mad because he was in overtime, which means less money. And he choked him.
Yeah, he skipped standing choke.
Yep.
Exciting.
Semifinal number 2, Craig Jones versus Tex Johnson. This was Craig's second longest match that he won by heel hook. So now he's 15 grand deep.
90 seconds in.
And
you got to fight Gordon Ryan next. And Gordon Ryan's had 2 overtime matches? One
overtime
match and a long match.
Yeah, one long match and one
total.
short match.
So he had 8-minute match and then an overtime match. So Gordon
and also
Ryan's,
the Donna Betty match, which he won by submission, but that was fairly quickly.
Yeah. So he's like 20 plus minutes in at this point. And you're going against Craig Jones, who is in your same weight
fresh
class.
As daisies.
And fresh. Like these guys almost met each other at ADCC. I think Keenan beat Craig, right? So they were almost in the same. They almost met at the ADCC finals, but Keenan beat Craig in the semifinals, so they didn't meet. And you saw Keenan versus Gordon in the finals.
So it was robbed from us once, but not again. The finals: Gordon Ryan versus Craig Jones. This one was a good one. They negated a lot of their jiu-jitsu, a lot of leg locking trying to happen, a lot of back taking trying to happen. And it wasn't going on. They just stalemated each other. So we go to overtime.
I think this was exciting, though.
Oh, it
partially
was.
Because both the guys are at 88. Like, they're the same weight class. You see 2 dudes in an absolute. They're the same weight. So I think that's why a lot of the negating happens, because similar attributes, obviously a similar skill set. And so it goes to overtime. And
yeah,
I think
it was.
flips. Ryan wins the toss, gives Craig his back first.
Yeah, and then it was escape. The final round, though, was Craig snagged an armbar. And everybody freaked out because we thought Gordon was going to get finished with an armbar. And Gordon gritted it and escaped.
He said it popped. He said it popped a little. We'll see tomorrow is what he said, which means he got a little bit.
Yeah. And
he was going to go Jacare. You saw that.
He was going to let that bad boy break.
You're like, oh, cool, 15 grand. How much money you have on the line? 10 grand on the line. And I'm going to retain my title. And this is one of the last gi events I'm doing before I'm fighting Yuri Simoes. And then my Simoes, and my year is over. I'm going to let it break.
Yeah.
And he got it. His arm was fully extended out. And you saw Craig Jones trying to move. And he gets the hitchhiker and he gets out. He finishes, rolls the shoulder through, comes on top and escapes.
And then holds on for dear life and wins and is the returning absolute
Yeah, he
champion.
gets a really good choke.
Great. Can't wait for the next absolute. Cannot wait.
Yeah, this was one for the record. This was great. I loved it.
Worlds is only 2 weeks away now, so I took a little peek at the brackets, who was going to be in what. I took down some names. I'm going to run through these really quick. The men's side, the women's brackets are light again. Light. It's the same few people that have been competing against each other. This bums me out. Get more people.
Yeah, some of the brackets have like 1 or 2 people in them. A bunch of them have one woman competitor in the brackets at adult black belts.
Me out. Anyway, Roosterweight has 9 competitors. The big standouts to me anyway, because sometimes I just don't know names and I'm an idiot. Lucas Pinheiro, Christian Woodmansey, and Nobuhiro Sawada. Light Feather, 11 competitors. Daniel Keene, who trains with us, so I'm going to bring him up. Hey, what's up, Dan Keene?
We used to on Fight to Win Pro in Maryland.
Yep. Javier Freitas, Barata, Joao Miao, and Alex Eklin of the G-Roll YouTube series fame. Same thing as Caio Terra's knee shield turnover. It was the same exact thing. But again, stand out that those are those peoples at light feather. Moving into featherweight with 15 competitors. Some of the standouts: Gianni Grippo, Queixinho, Samir Chantry, and Marcio Andre, who is, I guess, taking the dive back into featherweight. He competes there normally, but a lot of the smaller things he does light, and he did light a lot last year and only went to feather for Worlds. And I'm saying last year, and it was this year. So maybe he's just staying at feather. Excuse me. At lightweight, because he's in town, Lachlan Giles. I mean, these guys are all over the place. These guys are competing and competing and competing. There's 27 competitors in lightweight, by the way.
It is a big bracket.
It's a nice, well, it will be when we see it. Taliesin Soares, Wagner Hosha, who, on Sug tonight. That guy competes.
And last week and the weekend before. And I think we've covered him every single episode of this podcast. We have covered Wagner Hosha.
Oh, and potential rematch, which would be awesome. AJ Agazarm, also in the lightweight, who was just competing again tonight, but made me piss my pants because he lost. Rodrigo Freitas and Tanquinho Augusto Mendez coming back. So that'll be nifty to see. Middleweight, 23 competitors. Hey. John Satava, Marcelo Garcia, Michael Lira Jr. This dude is getting bigger.
He's from Marcelo Garcia. Marcelo Garcia is not competing.
Well, yeah, oh, God. No.
Just the way you read that got me excited for about a half second. Josh,
the whole podcast would have been about me being so excited about Marcelo
Garcia.
Yeah.
That'd been the whole podcast.
From Marcellus. Marcella's not coming back that I'm aware of. Sad face. Michael Liro Jr. He's a middleweight now. He's filling out. Marcelo Mafra, Darrow O'Connell, Dante Leon from GF team that has been coming up through the ranks. Victor Oliveira, Edwin Najmi, Victor Silviero, and that was Vitor Oliveira. And Munchie Manshurkera. So only 12 competitors in the medium heavy division. Here comes another name that is going to be on EBI tonight. Craig Jones. Stand out from ADCC, tapping all those people. Josh Hinger, Keenan Cornelius, Murillo Santana, Dustin Akbari, who's been competing a whole lot in the IBJJF, Samir Abdelkader, who's a local dude, so shout out to him, and Dylan Danis. I'm going to keep calling him that because I don't really care for him at all.
I'm excited for this bracket personally. When it comes out, this is one. There's going to be some matchups in it.
It's going to be a banger.
I want to see.
It's going to be.
And I think we'll see some of these guys against each other because it's a smaller bracket, and there's a couple guys that I think are going to hit each other.
It's going to be good. I'm going to be watching it. Duh. Going to heavy, 12 competitors as well. Mateus Diniz from Marcelo Garcia's, not Marcelo Garcia.
Now a Unity, right?
No. He's still at Marcelo. That's Munchie and
I always, for some reason, mix up their names for some stupid reason.
I think
names are hard, Josh.
Yeah, they are. I think Danis is he's still listing under Zenith, so I don't know if he's training at Unity or if he's out in Vegas because he wants to fight. I don't know. What a dingle.
Yeah, he said he's now signed to Bellator, which will be he's been signed to Bellator.
Whatever. I don't care. Somebody's gonna punch him in the face really hard, and everybody's gonna love it. Anyway,
On to the next division.
No, on to the next people popping up in this division really quick. Tiago Sa, Jackson Souza, James Brasco, Tim Spriggs, Roberta. Domo arigato, Mr. Robota. It's Roboto, but whatever. Roberto Torrebalis. That rounds out the names that popped out to me at first on the heavy bracket. Super heavy, 5 competitors. Lucas Barbosa, Hulk hands. He's got those big, giant, sexy hands.
And they also call him Hulk.
Yeah. I just call him Hulk hands because he's got really big hands. It's weird. Joao Assis, Matt Kirschwim, who is also on EBI tonight. Elliot Kelly. Ultra Heavy's got 8 competitors. Joseph Kawai. I butchered that one. Sorry. They call him Moku. He was at Atos for a while. He was on a Metamoris card too. That's why it stood out. Cyborg. Max Jimenez, Jared Dopp, who's getting a doctorate and still competing. That guy's
which is absolutely crazy. Especially competing at a high level and getting a doctorate.
Yeah. Joao Gabriel Hosha, who we talked about, had one of the most boring matches in the world just the other week. And Aaron Tex Johnson, who is on EBI tonight as well. Going on to the female side of here's all the divisions, and here comes a whole lot of fucked up names that I'm going to mess up. So in the light feather division, you have Lewia Glachowska. I'm not good at Polish either, apparently. From Absolute MMA in Australia, Patricia Maria N. Fontes dos Santos, checkmat. Fiona Watson, that was an easy one, from Fight Club. And from Fight Sport, Sofia Amarante. Going to feather, you have Heather Rafferty, Tammy Musamechi. I can say that one. From GFT, Myra Abrajo. And from Hodger Gracie Academy, Yasmin Wilson. Going to lightweight, you have Karen Borges from Checkmat, Michelle Nicolini from Checkmat, and from Gracie Humaita, Jenna Ray Bishop. So why you don't hear Maine's voice too much is because he's literally eating those Korean fire noodles while we're recording. His mouth's on fire. So going into the female middleweight division, which seems to be the biggest division. Yep, the biggest one with 6. Alliance Sao Paulo is Hanata Morea, Checkmat, Catherine Perret, Checkmat International, Samantha Cook, Hilti Fight Center, and Nordenyo. Hey, I think I did that well. From Straight Blast Gym International, Amanda Lowen, and Vanguard BJJ, Jess Fraser. In the medium heavy, you from Gracie Bar Upland, you have Ana Laura Cordero and Natalie DeJesus. I think I have it right. I think that's her name. Please tell me that I'm wrong, and please tell me how to say it, and I will hopefully be able to say it.
I think it is Natalia DeJesus. I think
Natalia
you've heard her
DeJesus.
announced as that before.
Fingers crossed. Finally, in the female heavyweight division from 50-50, Maya Matalone. Was she on the Fight to Win card?
I believe so. I recognized her name recently.
Yeah, and Jessica Flowers. So not heavy on the female competitors. Not a lot of big division. So yeah, the brackets aren't really filled out. It's light. I'm not supposed to say light. There are not many female competitors. There's 6.
Sparsely populated.
Sparsely?
Sparsely.
I thought you said partially populated. Sparsely is a good word. Good word.
Yeah.
Word of the day from the Grappling Rewind. Sparsely. Not parsley. Sparsely. So this is going to be sort of a 2-parter because, again, this weekend has been full of grappling. And while we've been recording and we've been distracted and Maine has been eating, double spicy Korean fire noodles, again, brought to us by the company that does Korean fire noodles. We've been watching SUG and EBI. EBI is going on right now. That's why we're not really giving you other information other than us freaking out at certain points of things happening. Why the fuck do they leave Eddie Bravo naked weighing in on this commercial? I don't get that.
Every time.
Every fucking time. It's so weird. Anyway.
So we're going to cut this episode together.
We're cutting it up and bringing it together. So if it sounds weird and choppy at a certain point, and I know Maine will probably edit this tiny little bit to the end, it's because why do you want partial results or partial commentary? So it's Sunday. We're watching it currently. We are going to be talking about it tomorrow after we train and give the rest of a breakdown of it. You've, again, heard us. Dan Borvik got his shit ripped off. Daniel O'Brien, who Maine hates, got fucking choked or whatever. Again, we're half paying attention and half talking to this right now. So we will be back shortly. Oh, wait, Saturday, February 17th. What's going on? Brought to you by Inch Porn Company. The featherweights are back. The
EBI
fucking
15,
featherweights.
Musclepharm.
Oh, it's from the Musclepharm. I wonder if it's going to be glitchy. Featuring Eddie Cummings. So he will go back to featherweight. Verified. Eddie Cummings. Who else is...
I assume they're going to put Gio back in there.
Gio was 135. Do you think he jumps up to do 45?
I assume they do 45, yeah.
Ooh, also, there he is. You called it, Gio Martinez. Oh, he's coming for it. He's coming for that second belt. Viva la Mexico. That's what he was saying, I guess. So
we will be previewing that, as well as Combat Jiu-Jitsu on Saturday, February 18th.
4-man tournament. Sweet. EBI 15. Keep on pumping them out. It's a Datsusara commercial.
So Datsusara has a commercial on...
Terrorists about to electrocute a guy's balls. We just saw cartoon testicles.
Well, they blur them out initially, and then on the pull-out shot, they don't blur out the testicles, which is a little weird.
I really don't understand why you're surprised by the crazy bullshit that they put on these.
This is a really bad ad. Like, this is not an ad that makes you want to buy a product. Like, Datsusara makes some of the best jiu-jitsu bags around.
They make good gear, but what's crazy is they just made a commercial. I don't know if this was Eddie Bravo was like, hey, this would be a good idea.
This is an animated commercial. These are not like, it's not like a free commercial.
It took some time to do. It took a while to color that and draw that. And they just drew terrorists electrocuting a guy's balls. And then he was set free because he loved the Datsusara backpack. Maine's eating fire noodles again.
So that will do it for this week's episode. Make sure to check out Kasai Pro. It happens this next weekend, I think December 8th or 9th. If you enjoy the show, please leave us a rating on iTunes. It really helps us out. You can follow Josh on Instagram at chops_and_chokes. Follow the podcast at Grappling Rewind on all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to listen to the podcast other places, we have it on YouTube as well as Stitcher or iTunes. Feel free to subscribe. Next week, we're going to break down the happenings of Kasai Pro and really start talking about Nogi Worlds that happens December 16th and 17th. Some of the potential matchups and the competitors. I think the brackets typically come out only a couple days before the event, so we probably can't preview the brackets, but be sure we are going to touch on all the competitors and some of the matchups we're hoping for. And as always, we're going to touch on and cover Fight to Win Pro 57 happening in San Jose, California on December 8th. As always, I've been Maine. Hope to see you on the mats.